I was watching Brody's video on his history of Linux and how he started with Arch Linux, and after I thought about what a noob for using a distribution like Arch, it got me thinking, 2024 was my 25-year anniversary of Linux, so maybe I should share some of my history with you so you can see just how just how painful Linux was back when I started and how far we've come. I've put a lot of blood, sweat, tears, stress into Linux over this quarter of a century. So why not come along for the ride and enjoy? Now obviously, I don't think I can sum this up into an 8 to 10 minute video, so I'm going to split it up into parts. And this one's going to be my first adventure into Linux, which was a Turbo Linux 3. So enjoy the ride. So let me set the scene for you. I was in my teenage years, 13, 14, maybe a little older, I can't remember, I've drunk way too much vodka since then. And I was a know-it-all kid. I knew it all about computers. So obviously I didn't even know enough to know how little I knew. Back then, obviously we only had dial-up, so a good day on the internet was downloading at 6 kilobytes per second. But we got around this by having magazines which included discs, and one day it included a distribution of Linux. Now, I knew it all, and obviously didn't realise that it was a different operating system, and I just thought I got a broken CD from the manufacturer. Until one day I left it in the CD drive and restarted my computer and noticed that a lilo command came up on my computer. Curiosity took over and I just clicked through the button to see what would happen. And as you can see on the screen, God, Linux was slow. I mean, this isn't a virtual machine and it's still taking forever. I have no idea how an idiot child like myself managed to get Linux installed. I mean, we usually joke about how difficult Linux was back in the day, and there's me just accidentally getting it running. Now I can make this sound like a huge achievement, but what really happened is I accidentally installed Linux on the family computer, wiping off Windows. So, oops. Bearing in mind back then, an entry-level PC, which was a 400 MHz Celeron with 64 megabytes of RAM and a whopping 6.4 gigabyte hard drive, was costing you like 1,200 quid. Yeah, there was no way my father was not gonna kill me if he found out I did this. Are you little? So let's take a look at what happened. So I got through all this stuff like that. As you can tell, this installing process is atrocious. Like, people were still saying Linux was ready to take over the desktop at this point in 1999. Windows 98 was out at this point, and even that wasn't this hard. The only drama you had then was trying to figure out drivers. Didn't have to do any of this though. Could you imagine this being your entry level into Linux? Yeah, we've come a long way. As you can see, we're still using exe2 as a file system at this point, and dear God, how long does it take to make a file system now? You think it takes a while to make one nowadays? This is only a 10 gig partition, and I'm speeding this up for you, and it's just not moving. Christ, Linux was rough back then. Now a lot of people told me this was the first distribution which made Linux easy to install, so this was a big turning point in Linux development. I mean, it's not easy, is it? Let's be honest. But yeah, a lot of people actually classify this as the grandfather of easy installations. So there's a fun fact for you. Now, I don't think it was as hard as this when I did it. I think I messed it up trying to redo it nowadays, like forgotten skills. But I've only managed to install the base package, which is just a terminal. I've not installed any graphical environment because I don't even understand how to do that. And to be frankly, why would I know? I'm used to operating systems doing all this for me. Now we're ready for the first boot. It doesn't even auto boot, you have to press return to go for it. I've got to select my own video adapter. I just pressed the first one and away I went. And there we go, I'm into my system. I obviously thought I've just installed DOS when I first did this, but let's take a little look at some of the system specs here. So let's look at the OS release. Oh yeah, this is before we even standardized Linux stuff. So nowadays we've got the Linux standard base, which puts some certain files into place. So you can get like the standard files in a normal place, so you can kind of basically use anything on any on any version of Linux. Yeah, that didn't exist back in the day, so things would have had to be made per distro. Okay, another quality of life we just take for granted nowadays. Well, I wonder if I could get NeoFetch running on this. Oh, what? ifconfig isn't even installed by default on this machine. And obviously IP wasn't even made at this point. Let's take a little look though. Only 93 meg used though for the whole entire image. That's pretty damn small. And 12 megabytes of memory used, and I'm guessing that's 4 megs on the kernel. What kernel are we using though? Oh, let's run utime A. Oh, kernel 2.036. God, I'm old if this was my first time using Linux, and I don't even want to look when that came out. But yeah, this is how we installed Linux in the 90s, and we've come a long way, I think. A long way. Anyway, I hope you like this one, and want to tell me about your first distribution in the comments. I'd love to hear it and see if and see how you found it. But for now, keep compiling everyone, and I'll see you on my second distribution when I finally switched in 2001 full time with Red Hat Linux 9. Also, don't forget that YouTube has stupidly allowed me to join the membership program, so if you want to be the first person to join that and get a mention in the next video, feel free to. Enjoy those wonderful emotes as well. Catch you next time. So it's clear I have a Gentoo addiction. Why not help enable me to get new hardware, or just cope with the stresses with vodka like these wonderful people you see before you? Prices only start at $1, and every little bit helps me. Thank you. Some upcoming ideas I have are shown on the screen now, but obviously it's up to you.